answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. I know you can handle the truth, folks. One of the first casualties of SHTF is the truth. It happened in Russia and the Soviet Union. It happened in Germany through the Nazis. It happened in China through Chairman Mao. It happened in Cuba through Castro. And it has happened to the United States through the Democrat Party. It has hit the fan, folks. We've been dealing with it and putting up with it. One sec. All righty. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. I know you can handle the truth. I think you're all familiar with the term jump the shark. It means to put a bunch of stuff out there to get ahead of yourself, right? Or is that jump the gun? Well, anyway, we look at it. There's a lot of jumping going on, jumping through hoops, gymnastics, jumping to conclusions. Jump the shark, jump the gun, jump to conclusions. This could be called SHTF Olympics if we wanted. Anyways, late yesterday, the Democrats got ahead of themselves. The mainstream media got ahead of themselves and may have revealed part of their plot. They came out, the mainstream media, they got to sit in front of Raggedy Ann herself, Jen Psaki, and they repeatedly asked, is Kamala Harris being considered for the Supreme Court? This has everything to do with Justice Breyer of the Supreme Court announcing his retirement. Now, once again, they jumped the gun and then they jumped the shark, trying to make this look huge, right? Never before has a justice had his announcement or hers for retirement, because I don't know what they identify as retirement, right? Never before has the media announced their retirement. Usually the person retiring does the announcing, but in this case, it was leaked. It came out. It was leaked. I don't think this was leaked, folks. I think this is direct pressure. Remember those control files that control Republicans, Republican judges, Republican congressmen, Republican senators at the federal, state, local level? There's control files on Democrats too. Why do you think they march in lockstep in their party? Very rarely do they step outside the box. Well, we've had one of those rare occasions. Senators Manchin and Semena, but more on them later. And when I say moron, I mean moron. Anyways, back to the Supreme Court, the Biden administration, control files, Jen Psaki, the repeated question if Kamala Harris is being considered for the Supreme Court. Folks, is Kamala going to be transferred from her position as vice president over to the Supreme Court? Right? Big question. Biden's losing his marbles and appoints her over there. And then she is confirmed. What would follow after that? What would follow after that? Hillary? Would they put Hillary into the vice presidency? Is that possible? Many commentators have said yes. Many have said, oh, yeah, that's completely possible. And then Biden resigns. Now you have President Hillary lining up for 2024. Now, seriously, folks, why is anyone asking this question about Kamala? Is it a trial balloon to see what the public's reaction is? Well, the public reaction, I think, was pretty negative. They've got a lot of polishing to do with camel toes to get her off her knees and in a position to run as a Supreme Court justice. But the political direction makes perfect sense when you look at the big picture. Now, they jumped the shark, they jumped the gun, they jumped ahead of themselves. The press jumped to conclusions. They blew it, folks. Cat out of the bag. I love using all of these idioms. They had to back up. They had to cover their tracks. They shouldn't have got so excited. So today, President Joe Biden said what? Well, I just want you to know that I am going to be the one who nominates the first black woman to the Supreme Court as nominee, right? Well, folks, Kamala is supposed to be a black woman. Is she not? An African-American woman? Is she not? A person of color? Is she not? So they've coughed up a handful of potentials, quite literally, hacks, for the press to chew on, for Republicans to ruminate over, and for us to basically go, you're out of your fucking mind, right? Now, this needs to be done before the midterm elections. So, what is Biden doing? Well, no, let's back up. Justice Breyer. Been working on this one all day. Justice Breyer says he'll resign, retire, leave the Supreme Court sometime, I don't know, early, mid, late summer, just before the election. Yes. So Biden can what? Put his nominee out there. He can politically pander to his voting base. You bet, folks. He's not a racist because he's nominated a black woman. Except every time he's opened his mouth in the past, racist garbage flies out. They do need to move Biden along. We know that. We do know they need to move Kamala along. We know that. They need to keep, folks, the Supreme Court loaded with the most liberal judges they can. Now, there's a lot of things up for grabs at the Supreme Court this year right now. Roe versus Wade. Second Amendment questions, big time. How about our constitutional rights to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness? Our Bill of Rights all together. Yeah, everything's up for grabs. But this seat, right, Justice Breyer is not a Republican. He's a very liberal Democrat. So they can easily replace him with a liberal Democrat. So that is not a question. That's not a big deal. They do need to maintain this idea of mail-in ballots, vote by mail, vote once, vote often. And that is a big question, but not for the Supreme Court to decide. So what is this really all about? I mean, how much mileage can Biden get? He's not up for election. How much mileage can he get for Democrats in the House by pandering the way he has? I mean, wouldn't it make sense to nominate the most competent judge? Even if that judge is a liberal, wouldn't it be a good idea for them to nominate the most liberal, competent judge, meaning one that sounds like they know what they're doing? Right, that would make the most sense. Instead, it's just political pandering to excite the base, to cause a ruckus in the Senate during the confirmation hearings so they can look at the Republicans and call them racists, white supremacists. Haven't we heard that story the last couple of years? Folks, see, they're continuing to try and divide and conquer the nation, the country, the people. Divide and conquer, divide us, divide us, divide us. Always be throwing shit against the wall, seeing what sticks. It's what pisses me off. Our country is supposed to be about freedom and liberty. And I think we could go all through the spring with bated breath, salivating over who could be that first black woman. Right? I guess Aunt Jemima's out of a job, right? She's no longer on one of the most, if not the most successful breakfast franchise food items ever. Maybe she'll take the job. Right? I mean, the pandering is ridiculous, folks, but we got a lot of stuff coming. 2022 is going to be chocked full of fruits and nuts. Now, the idea of free speech. Dan Bongino is now permanently kicked off of YouTube. He is the former Secret Service agent under the Clintons and who knows who else. But he's done. He's removed. They want to silence us. It's my understanding Delaware Patriot got a strike, and he's down for the count. 1 week anyways. Mac got a hold of me and said, hey, damn it. I'm like, dude, we're all carrying the torch. You're the man. This is why I want you folks to come over to Patreon if you're not already here. It's cheap. It's $2 a month. It's simple. You go to Patreon, you go to there, you just leave that page open and you just go to the Prepared Mind and it scrolls, it feeds. Not only do you get the videos and you get them live, you get to do what we're doing here, well, on Patreon, live. We're going to have live Q&A every day, Monday through Friday. You get news articles, you get other video content that is not allowed in this censored, rotten world. And by censored and rotten, I mean censored and rotten, folks. Dan Bongino, I wasn't the hugest fan of his, but guess what? Right? He was another voice saying liberalism is wrong. At least he had that going for him. He was another voice saying corruption exists. He had that going for him. Right? He had access to mainstream media. He had that going for him. And now he's permanently gone. One by one, folks, they're going to get rid of us if they can. What is next? I want to give you something good. Hey, let's do a little bit of racial pandering, right? Hey, folks, Republican, state of Georgia, running for Senate, has raised a stunning $10 million since he announced that he's going to run. And none other than Herschel Walker is the man. Now, I know this dates me, but back in the 1980s, when I was just a kid, Herschel Walker was incredible during his college days in Georgia. And he's been a lifelong super athlete and super good human being, friend of President Trump. That's wonderful. But a Republican, and the Democrats are scared to death. My recommendation, support Herschel Walker. Someone sounds like they're knocking on my hatch. Well, I'm doing a show and you're not allowed to come in. That's right. No knock raids here. Not going to happen in the bunker, right? Oh, no, this is beautiful. Let's do this again. Another person of color, a black mayor. Hyattsville Mayor Kevin Ward died by suicide. Oh, but wait, there's more. He died at Fort Marcy Park. But wait, there's more. That's where Vince Foster also committed suicide by receiving several gunshots to the back of his own head. That's a pretty interesting trick, is it not? Pretty interesting, yeah. This particular mayor, Kevin Ward, was also a homosexual, and the media is really touting that he and his husband, I mean, is it husband and husband, or does someone get to pretend to be a wife? I don't know. Anyways, is it wife and wife or wife and husband? I don't know. Anyways, they're saying, they adopted 2 sons, and they're really playing this thing up. They're really trying to get all the mileage they can. But I want to ask questions. Fort Marcy Park. I guess, folks, if you're feeling like you're in trouble, you do not go to Fort Marcy Park. Oh, by the way, Vince Foster was, I think, the highest ranking government official to die through assassination or mysterious circumstances since John F. Kennedy was successfully assassinated. Crazy stuff, folks. Very crazy. Sign of the times. And let's just keep going with sign of the times. Biden's Department of Justice, the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, the DOJ, the Department of Justice, says that the arsonist who, during the BLM riots of 2020, the arsonist who burned things, who actually killed someone, should get a lesser sentence. His sentence should be reduced because he was in the act of protesting. Can you believe that? But folks, remember this, January 6th, those protesters who killed nobody, actually several protesters were killed by government agents, but they killed no one. They don't get out on bail, folks. But this is incredible. This is what I am trying to say when I say it is completely prejudicial, having nothing to do with color. It's prejudicial against people who love freedom and liberty. Now, what cracks me up is supposedly the oppressed around the world and slaves around the world have for hundreds of years wanted to be free. And when they get free, they like that autonomy, that ability to be themselves and go where they want. If you will, be all they can be. Unbelievable. Yet you come to America in 2022, every single Democrat is screaming and yelling that they don't want freedom, that they want more government, bigger government, government that demands, tells them what to do. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. Michael Brown, thank you for that Cash App donation, man. I appreciate it. Just popped right in. Popped right in while I was doing the broadcast. Okay. Oh, man. Now, I just talked about the BLM arsonist, right? Now, let's look at the Oath Keepers. Their leader and the leader of the Proud Boys, who I believe is a person of color, they've been arrested. But Stuart Rhodes is supposedly an FBI stooge. Or is he the leader of a pro-freedom group? Who has been let free? Antifa. Who, right, is going to get a lesser sentence because they committed their crimes, arson and murder, while in the act of protesting? More leftists. And what we have is freedom-seeking people, Republican types, conservative types, libertarians who were at the January 6th protest. They're held, right? Now, the FBI pawn named Ray Epps, Antifa murderers, arsonists, police assaulters, they go free. But a judge has ordered that the Oath Keepers leader is to remain in jail through his trial. He's too much of a risk. Do you see the two sides? I want to make this very clear, folks. If you get arrested as a patriot, which is now synonymous with domestic terrorist, if you get arrested as a domestic terrorist, they're going to hold you indefinitely without bail, irrespective of whether you have actually committed a crime. And now today we had the ATF, the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms gang. They are going to have a little bit of fun with America. Last time they had a whole lot of fun was the Branch Davidian Waco debacle, where the children were killed in order to save the children under President Clinton, President Hillary, and Janet El Reno, the Attorney General. She was the head of the Department of Justice, the Attorney General back then, and turned the ATF loose, trying to create and gin up gun charges. Well, now apparently with the bump stock, if they're out there, the ATF, the Department of Justice, wants to go out and get them. They're squaring up against us, folks. They're really getting nasty. I don't know what else to say about this. It's looking nasty out there. I hope you are prepared, and I'm glad, and I know that you guys are not criminals. I get it. But as this year goes, they're going to need to continue to demonize Republicans, libertarians, freedom-minded people, people who don't want to be slaves, who don't want to be introduced to the plantation under communists, right? Crazy ass people. People like Jen Psaki, Raggedy Ann, the ginger in chief, right? The president's spokesmouth, Jen Psaki. She has warned Republicans against playing games with Biden's Supreme Court pick, whoever it's going to be. Isn't this incredible, folks? They want to talk tough. Raggedy Ann is talking tough. Why? He hasn't even really named anybody, but they're putting this out there. You're not going to play any games. But isn't that what the Democrats do? They're always playing games. They're always the hucksters. Right? This ultimate joke of saying that they are tolerant, that they are inclusive, that they are open-minded, that they're not the racists. That's what liberals say, right? This ultimate joke has actually become the real leaders and policymakers in this country. That is why people are not going back to work, folks. That is why shit is hitting the fan. Everything is a big deal now. Right? Everything's a big deal. Now, if you think, now understand this, folks, race, gender, sexual orientation, nationality, all of those sacrosanct things by the left are used as tools of division, tools to promote their ideas, but they don't believe in them. They don't believe in looking out for all women. Ask the Clintons, right, who ran over the top of Juanita Broaddrick, Paula Jones, smeared Jennifer Flowers, and a myriad of other people. Now, but John, that was a long time ago. That was the Clintons. That was over 20 years ago. Well, Obama's former deputy chief of staff has looked at Senator Semena and said, you know what? She said, quote, I think she's a see you next Tuesday. Put those letters together. Capital C, capital U, right? Next Tuesday. She said, I think she's a see you next Tuesday. Now, I know that word is so bad that women don't like to hear it, whether it's referring to them or not. And it's the C word. Almost as bad as the N word. It's almost as bad as the H word. Honky. Anyways, folks, she said, I think she's a CUNT. This is Obama's deputy chief of staff that he had, is calling this about Senator Semena because she supported following the rules in the Senate and voted against the effort to remove the filibuster, a time-tested legal technique used in politics for political purposes. It's a political tool, not a game. It's a tool. So, folks, it's all about politics. So a female, oh, by the way, let me give you her name. Obama's aide. It doesn't matter that Senator Semena is a woman. It doesn't matter what color Senator Semena is, even though I believe she's white. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Alyssa Mastromonaco. Mastromonaco, that is a mouthful of consonants there with the occasional vowel in place. Oh, by the way, we're about 5 minutes away from the Q&A where you guys get to ask questions. Get them into Jolene. You can message them in. You can get in the video. Whatever it takes, get your messages in. Jolene can put up in the comment section live instructions, etc. But get your questions in. I know you have questions. This is incredible. And this topic here, folks, I talked about the children and Waco. I talked about Janet El Reno, who was a woman, Janet, even though she was about 6'8", and sounded and looked like the first trans attorney general, but I think she was actually a woman, but I don't know. Maybe she just identified as a woman. I don't know. I don't know anymore. How the hell can I know? Anyways, back to the children. It's always about the children. Oh my gosh. It's about sensitivity for races and sensitivity for women and sensitivity for minorities. It's all a lie. It is a complete lie. It is, folks. It's all about leverage and using others. And here's some more evidence. There's a teacher. This guy is a complete jackass too. But this teacher tweeted because the state he's in is considering lifting their mask requirements. And so this teacher loses his mind and does a tweet. He goes on Twitter. Now, I don't know how he can say what he said and still have his account, but because I went and watched it on Twitter, he says, quote, he will pick up a child and throw it at you if you do any mask shaming at him at his school. He says he's going to put on every mask he has. And what I'm thinking is, good, dude, put them all on at once. Let them fill up with all kinds of nasty bacteria and moisture and lower your oxygen content, because it sounds like you need more brain damage. Maybe if you damage your brain enough, you'll actually become smarter. Maybe you'll kill the brain cells that you're using right now, which don't really work all that well. But yeah, that's this guy. You know, incredible. He wants to throw children at people. I didn't know throwing children was acceptable. Well, it wasn't, folks. The school escorted him out. You're done, pal. That is what the left thinks of children. Now, the teachers have shown us, folks. What little respect I had for teachers is now only reserved for those that I personally know. Because I've seen nothing but a bunch of left-wing lunatic, pro-union, pro-us. We don't want to work. We want to sit at home and get a paycheck teachers who have now made themselves more important than the kids. We're not teaching unless we get our way. We're going to go on strike, these teachers. Now a teacher's going to throw children, use them as a weapon to assault people, not for assaulting him, not for committing a crime. He's going to use children as a weapon for anyone who shames him, makes fun of him, if they even look at him. I mean, this is how incredibly stupid these people are. This is their arrogance, their brashness. This is the temerity they have. They're willing to do all this, folks, to you and your kids. You think shit hasn't hit the fan? You think we're not going to have an all-out, knockdown, drag-out fight with these idiots? It's going to come to it. It's going to come to it. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. I tell you. I mean, it is never ending, folks. Never ending. Where do we go from here, right? Where do we go from here? Is the United States going to follow England and Ireland, their return to normal over the cerveza shamdemic? This question's being bantered about now. We've been discussing it. You and I, we're ahead of the curve. We knew about England. We knew about Ireland. We know, folks, all about Denmark and Czech Republic saying no more rules, no more regulations, no more lockdowns, no more masks, no more mandates. The story, the narrative, many have said, is falling apart fast, even though little Dr. Doom, Dr. Peepers, Dr. Plunger, he has proposed that children, babies, 6 months old, up to 4 years old, get 3 doses of Jim Jones juice. He's not giving up and backing off. Canada is telling people, hey, you can't go into stores unless you go there to buy food and medicine, and you're guided by a government official to make sure you don't buy anything that you really want. You're only allowed to buy necessities. You see, the lunatic left is continuing to run their direction. People who want freedom, the other. So is the U.S. going to follow the UK's return to normal? I don't think so, folks. My opinion, no. Not yet. Not until after the 2022 election. They need vote by mail, folks. They need to have cerveza bug disaster. Oh my God, there's more of it. So they can lock people down, so they can scare people. So old people can claim that they need to vote by mail. They're too scared to come out. They've scared their little sheep so bad, folks. Can you imagine? Unbelievable. And here we are. In 2022, the end of January. I got many more topics, but it's half an hour through. And I want you guys, right? I want to know your questions. Your questions. What do you want to talk about? What's on your mind?
I also want to ask you about the president's mandate. There's so much opposition now.
I understand, and we all understand, how people do not like to be told what to do. They want to make their own choice and their own free will.
Is there any thought of backing off of that?
People do not like to be told what to do, told what to do, told what to do. They want to make their own choice and their own free will, their own choice, their own choice.
Backing off,
free will, their own free will. I get that and I respect that. Free will, I respect that. But these are unusual times. Their own free will, unusual times. I respect that. So I would prefer, and we all would prefer, that people would be voluntarily getting vaccinated, told what to do. But if they're not going to do that, sometimes you've got to do things that are unpopular, but that clearly supersede individual choices. And that.
Are you ready?
Yeah, unpopular choices. Yeah, but don't worry. His power supersedes your rights. Well, folks, a lot of people lately have been getting sick. It is the cold and flu season. My recommendation is take your ascorbyl palmitate, your vitamin C, take your zinc, and do as the good doctor and many other healthcare professionals say, and wash your hands with soap. And remember, Dr. Fauci is the foremost expert. You bet he's the foremost expert in everything you need to know about cerveza bug. So be sure and obey him because he'll make the right choices for you. Now, moving into the questions, we've got Catherine. And since I haven't seen Catherine's name, I'm going to say this is a first-time comment, question, statement from Catherine. It says, thoughts on the convoy of freedom. It's happening in Canada, and of last night, 3 other countries are starting convoys of freedom in their countries. Is this the start of winning our freedom back? No, it is not. I have some good thoughts here. Catherine, it is a great question. Is this the start? What I think this is, it's the potential, not of the start, but of finally the side that loves freedom cresting over the top of those who would condemn and lock us down. It could be the turning of the tide because the fight has been going on all along. Winning our freedom back, shit, I've been doing it for, I don't know, my whole life. I've been fighting to win our freedom back. But if you're talking about just on cerveza bug, it is the start of something grand. I love seeing that other countries are going to do similar things. If you remember, Australia was the first country to say, hey, you want to lock us down? Truckers say no way. But there's a consequence, folks. There's a consequence, and you need to be prepared. The consequence is you go into a store, they're not going to have the items you want because there's truckers out there saying to the government. Now, I love that Canada has been the most successful I've ever seen in doing this sort of thing. But they are locked down up there, folks. And understand Canada, it's the winter. It's very cold, very snowy, very icy. And they have enough troubles with the weather up there. But you throw this in on top of it, Canadian stores are going to be empty. So those that support this trucker convoy against mandates, I hope they're ready. I hope they're prepared. It would be nice. I'd love to see the United States do this as successfully. But remember, folks, your stores will have bare shelves. Not everywhere, maybe some, maybe half the store, maybe most of it. I don't know. But that means we, the people, will suffer. Don't worry. Joe Biden will not miss a meal. Kamala Harris won't miss a mouthful either. No Democrat, no governor, no mayor is going to go without food. This is going to make things hard on the people. And the reaction by the government should be, oh my gosh, don't do that to the people. No, no, no. Now we know you're serious. Now we're going to back off. Do you think these scumbags care? Do you think they'll ever, ever, ever back off? Wait till you hear this. I love that Canada's locking down. By the way, they're trying to raise money. They're raising money. They've raised $5.5 million. The truckers up in Canada have raised $5.5 million through GoFundMe. And GoFundMe has frozen it. What an appropriate term for winter. They've frozen their funds. They can't have access to them until they submit a spending plan that meets GoFundMe's approval. Unbelievable, folks. You can't have a political activity. You can't have a political plan of action that isn't Democrat approved. GoFundMe can stick it, as far as I'm concerned. There are better applications out there for doing this. Anyways, will the leftists back off? Well, certainly not the GoFundMe people, certainly not the government. Get this, folks. There's a very powerful person in Canada, extremely powerful and influential. They have gotten the Jim Jones juice, folks. Not once, not twice, but fully boostinated. And he is in quarantine. Do you think that he's going to say, you know what? The stuff doesn't work. It's not working, right? The Jim Jones from the 1970s that gave his followers Kool-Aid, that stuff worked. It was poison and it had the exact effect that Jim Jones wanted. Everyone in his cult died who drank the Kool-Aid. Well, the Trudeau Kool-Aid of Canada, it doesn't do what they claimed it was going to do. So a lot of people have said, screw it, we're not taking the Jim Jones juice. It's not working anyways. These are the truckers. These are the people supporting the struggle. And it is, I do like the idea that the tide is turning, right? Because we have England, Ireland, Denmark, the Czech Republic over in Europe. Because other countries are like, you know what? We need to have our truckers do the same thing. People who want freedom everywhere are opposed to government lockdowns, mandates. They're protesting peacefully in many cities around the world, throughout Europe. Even in China, folks, there have been great protests. But governments don't care. They won't back off, even though they are personally affected, like little boy Trudeau, right? They know it's not working, but they don't care. They're not going to stop. They don't care about the people. In fact, a lot of Democrats would just assume use children as a weapon to beat other people and hurt them. Unbelievable. Great questions. Let's move on. Who is next? We've got Chester Wolf, the Griffin. He says, I am so proud of the truck drivers in Canada for fighting back against elitists, their government. And their tyrannical government, truck drivers, the elitists and the government. He says, truck drivers unite. I like this. You know, truck drivers unite. Now, we're seeing trouble in America. Just yesterday, we had one of our own who lives in a very large metropolitan area, a metroplex, which usually involves one or two major cities, suburbs around and between them. There's grocery stores all over the place. And this guy says, hey, we're only getting half of what we order. We order 100 cases, we get 50. We order 50 cases, we get 25. We order 1,000 pounds, we get 500. He said in some cases as little as 30%. We ordered 100 cases of chili, we only got 30. The store stock, the inventory in the back rooms is going down. Stores have put out fake food boxes, folks. Fake displays to make it look like there's food. This reminds me of the movie The Interview, where the American journalists are paraded in front of a grocery store in North Korea where a fat little kid is eating an ice cream cone standing out front, but inside it's not a real store. It's fake, trying to make it look like North Korea has all the food they want because they've got all that food and then a fat little kid. Well, he's fat because he's eating so good, right? What we're seeing out in the United States of America is not only am I seeing shortages in stores, not only am I getting anecdotal reports from you guys around the country, now we have a grocer saying, hey, We're having problems getting food. Now, is that just truckers? The answer is no. Are the truckers contributing this? Yes, it is a contributing factor. Are they in a big thing like in Canada? No, they're not. Not yet. I hope they do. I wish they would, to bring to people's attention, especially the politicians, that we the people, we don't have to obey them. And there's a consequence for them violating our rights. Violating our rights. Violating our rights. This isn't about a mandate that you just don't agree with. It's about a violation of our rights. The other thing the Canadian truckers are doing, folks, is they're basically blockading the roads. They're stopping traffic. Ooh, that sucks, John. You know how you don't want to be me, John. I don't want to be trapped in traffic. I don't want gridlock to develop. I don't want to be late to the show. I don't want to be late to anything. So how can I support that? Well, it's going to anger people. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe people need to be angry instead of fat and complacent. Now, I do love seeing leftists triggered, and boy, are they triggered by anything that the political libertarians like, anything that really upsets them. If it looks like we're winning, if it looks like we've turned the tide, as Catherine says, right, that we're finally getting the pushback we need, getting that momentum in place, that we could finally win something. Folks, every day that you don't obey the government is a day that you can consider yourself a winner. Now, every day that you have your freedom and liberty, you're a winner. Doesn't mean they're not going to chip away at us. It doesn't mean we can't chip away at them. Keep the fight going. But understand, according to our super secret high-level grocer, says they're getting less and less, and they've been told that this isn't going to end. In fact, folks, my guess is it's going to get worse. And if our truckers unite and stop delivering food, auto parts, clothing, you name it, we're going to have some big, big trouble. But don't worry, folks. Over in LA, they're going to continue to rob the trains, break into shipping containers, and basically loot them. So California will be fine, especially down south. Let us move on, if we shall. We got Bonnie Blue checking in, and she says, a member of my virtual congregation posted a video reporting Canadian government has interceded and is shutting down the convoy in Ontario as it heads to Ottawa. Isn't that fascinating? So the government of Canada doesn't allow free speech. It doesn't allow people the right to travel where they want. They're going to see this convoy, which has, folks, trucks plastered with signs. It is not a secret convoy. The people line the roads and wave in support to their truckers saying, F you, Trudeau, and you bunch of elitist scumbag government types, bureaucrats, and lying experts. So they're going to shut down the convoy? That's pretty interesting. Bonnie Blue continues, says, reporting that the road is closed for, get this, treacherous road and weather conditions, which is a lie, as the road is open. They're shutting down the convoy. The only thing treacherous in this is government, because facts are facts. Truth is truth. Statistics are statistics. And the lies of the experts, elitists, bureaucrats, and elected officials, their lies, folks, reach the heavens and offend the ears of the Almighty, in my opinion. I am so sick of these lying people. They're going to lie and say the roads are treacherous. No, the government in Canada is treacherous. They're shutting down the convoy, the free use of public roads, the roads that the fuel the Canadian truck drivers buy. They pay a tax. I'm sure of it. If we pay a tax here in the United States of America on our fuel, federal and state taxes in many cases, federal taxes always, they pay that tax up there. That road is theirs to use. Unbelievable. Yeah, they can't have that, folks. They can't have that. I say to the Canadians, drive around it. Drive around these treacherous conditions. bypass them. I mean, how can they stop? Are they just going to shut the roads down? Folks, it's going to make the point even greater. Well, it's not just now shut down to the truckers, it's shut down to everybody. All commerce is supposed to stop in Canada. Is that what we're going to see out of this, Bonnie? They're going to shut down all transportation, all deliveries? If the roads are closed for treacherous weather conditions, or are they just shutting the roads down for semi-trucks? You see, what I don't like about government is it can lie. It can lie for political purposes. It's allowed to lie. Nobody is held accountable if they lie. You see, I think the Department of Transportation in any state or Canada, up in their provinces, if you lie about road conditions and shut a road down, you've cost people their rights. You have cost businesses their rights to use those highways. There's a financial cost and there's a personal cost. And I think those government officials should be held responsible. But that's not the world we live in. Today, a prosecutor can charge you with anything they want, arrest you, seize your property, and then make you prove your innocence while they cost you money, dime after dime, dollar after dollar. That's the prosecutorial power of government. That's the bureaucratic power of government, that they can screw everyone else. But when you try fighting back, they're going to stop you. Folks, shit has hit the fan. We're starting to fight back. People have had enough of this shit. And I pray that the people of Australia and New Zealand step up their game, that the United States people get involved, get in the front of the line to scream, yell, protest, and petition the government for political redress, right? For your grievances. All right, let us move on, if we shall. We have Vincent Boyle, our good friend from Belfast, Ireland, checking in. How does it feel to be free, my brother? He says this, was in wholesalers today, half the shelves were empty. Vincent Boyle is not in the US or Canada, folks. He's across the pond over in Ireland. Half his shelves were empty. Is there a trucking convoy in Ireland? Are they shutting the roads down in Ireland? What's the problem? If Vincent Boyle is in Belfast or one of the surrounding boroughs, why are his shelves half empty? You see, this isn't an American issue. It's not a Canadian issue. This is a worldwide issue. The governments, in my opinion, all of them, have manufactured a crisis. Cerveza bug hysteria. They've scared the world to death. They put as many sheep in the pen as we can, given all of them Jim Jones juice. To the rest of us, they say, we're going to punish you, lock you down, quarantine you, we're going to hate you. We're going to castigate you. We're going to ruin your life. We're going to ruin your retirement. We're going to ruin. It's all about ruination, folks. Something about the abomination of desolation. They're making our economies desolate. They're making the land desolate, folks. This is what parasites and plagues do. We have the plague of evil that is upon us. And its political form, folks, is social fascism and communism. The people are the ones who have to pay for this because, as stated, the government will always get its 3 hots and a cot. It's going to get its meals. Even if they have to go into their bunkers and lock themselves down in defense, protection from us. Well, I hope that you are well stocked, and I'm sure you are, Vincent. Be sure and spread the word to everyone. Not only in Ireland and Canada and Australia, New Zealand, the United States, but everywhere in the world. Share this video with others. Tell other people, wake up, look around. This is not going to get better. It's got to get worse. They've got what they want in New Zealand. They've got them by the nuts. Australia, they got the people by the nuts. In America, they've almost got us by the nuts, huh? They've got this election coming up, the 2022 election. If the Democrats retain control of the House and Senate, they've got us. They've absolutely got us. So they have to have elections their way. They have to have drop boxes. They have to have mail-in ballots. They have to have no voter ID required. They have to have that, folks, or it's game over, or at least the turning of the tide, as we've discussed. This fight is on, folks. We have a chance. We're in the game. You have to be prepared and then prep to action. It's a call to arms. It's a call to action. The arms being these arms that you raise in opposition to being dominated by tyrants. I'm not calling for violence. I'm not glamorizing violence. That's not the arms I'm talking of. I recommend nothing harmful, nothing dangerous. I don't violate terms of service or community guidelines. I talk about stuff using satire, humor, but you guys know. You can hear the words. You know the truth. You know what's out there. Share it with others, folks. People are waking up. The Canadian people are waking up. I bet, folks, I bet 80% of America has no idea what is going on in Canada. I bet 80% of Americans have no idea what's going on in Australia or England or Europe or Russia or anywhere. They're just a bunch of ignorant dopes. At least 80%. But there are many of us who are, shall we say, political wonks, medical wonks, right? We're just eating this stuff up. Stay informed. Subscribe. If you're not on Patreon, get to Patreon. It is, folks, Patreon. It's how you get information out of jail, how you unleash the truth, and how you avoid censorship. Because if you're only on YouTube, you don't know it, but you're being punished. Thank you again to Mr. T for making a lot of these points for me. All right, we got Todd and Prepared saying, don't care what they call me. The Republicans better start acting like they have nothing to lose. If they don't, America is dead. Now, I'm going to take what you said, and I'm going to put a little spin on it for you there, Todd and Prepared. The Republicans better start acting like they are going to lose everything. Because, folks, if they don't start acting like they're going to lose everything, they will lose everything. Everything is at stake in 2022. They have to start acting like this is their last chance. It is time to start acting like real Americans. Freedom is what is required, not entitlements, certainly not compromise, right? We've compromised with Democrats for how many years? Going back to FDR, folks. Compromise. We got Social Security, then we got the Great Society, we got the welfare state, we got the military-industrial complex, we got the CIA. Compromise, not good. It's time to put an end to it, to compromise and start acting like freedom is what matters, because freedom isn't first. Everything else fails. I love what you had to say there. Better start acting like they got nothing to lose because they have everything to lose. Right? This is a fight to the political death in 2022. If we don't get at least the House or the Senate, folks, one or the other, then I think the shit hitting the fan is just going to get way, way worse. Because they'll have 2 more years in which they can do anything they want. Now, I don't want anyone to feel crazy bad. Understand that there are free states. There is Texas, there is Florida, and many others beside that are moving into a concept of freedom and liberty. That is also happening concurrent to what's happening in DC. But I've been saying for 2 years, we need to send people to DC to fight, to tie up that place, to give them hell up there so they're not in our states. And in the meantime, the states need to become bastions of freedom. Moving on, we have Mr. Shawnee Momini. He says, with all the talk of the grid vulnerability, how likely is it they would destroy power stations in areas that are going against all the mandates and the will of the powers that be? Let me give you a taste of what I think the potential is. In extreme Northern California, which is where I lived before I left for the RMZ and relocated back in the south of the United States, extreme Northern California has been trying and has been spearheading 2 movements. One of them is leaving California and becoming their own state or joining Idaho. Second was the recall of Governor Gavin Newsom. Gavin beat the recall effort. And also, folks, that area of the state from which I came was visited with the single largest number of acres ever destroyed in California in a single season with fire. Cities, towns burned. And Gavin Newsom, governor of California, sent firefighters to the state of Oregon to help them. When you say, would they destroy power stations to punish those that are in opposition to them, the tyrants, the elites? The answer, sir, is yes, they would. The question is also, will they? Or when will they? Under what circumstances or why would they do such a thing? Governor Newsom, in my opinion, allowed these fires to burn, did not fund the firefighting efforts, sent the firefighters elsewhere as a punishment for opposing him. I really believe that, folks, for those who are in areas that oppose these nasty powers, that we're going to be visited, folks, by intentional destruction. They don't need to destroy whole power stations. All they need to do is take out a few transformers, large transformers, trip the system, cause an overload on the remaining transformers, and then sit on their hands and do nothing. The same way, folks, the docks, the ports like Los Angeles, sit on their hands and do not unload ships. I did not cover this, but it was reported that LA Harbor is so full of ships that they are now anchoring ships off the coast of Mexico while they wait in line to get offloaded in America. That's right, they've gone south of the border and are anchoring there. They're not unloading the ships, folks. That is a continuing problem. Ships that come from North Korea, ships that come from China, ships that come from Taiwan, ships that come from India, ships that come from Indonesia, ships that come from Australia, ships that come anywhere in the Pacific Rim or even the Indian Ocean. They're not being unloaded. It's punishment. It's intentional. It's directed, and it's political. Are you prepared? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Do you understand that they will let leftists out of jail? Violent people accused of murder, arson, looting, mayhem, and they will let them out. Kamala Harris, Vice President of the United States, potential Supreme Court nominee, prior to the election, was bailing out and leading efforts to remove people from jail who committed these heinous, violent crimes, and then encourage them to continue. A serious, folks, offense that she committed prior to being in office, in which I think she should be impeached for. Promoting race-based hatred and violence. That's what they've done. That's what they're going to continue to do as they play these awful games. While you were locked down, they let these protesters out to gather en masse, despite the fact they said a deathly, world-killing pandemic was at large. Oh, yeah, right? Unbelievable what these people did, have done, are doing, and will continue. And will continue. And will continue to do. And will continue to do. And continue to do. That's what communists do, folks. I know that was probably annoying, but sometimes I feel like I have to be a little bit annoying to get the point across. Don't hate me. I'm just the messenger. What else have we got? Holy cow, we're at 1 hour, folks. Where do I go? I've got just a couple of seconds. I have to talk about this. I can't let it go. Free from their mask mandates and passports, England is beginning its life with COVID. Right? In other words, they've dropped all their requirements, mandates, and stuff, and now they're going to have to live like normal human beings. Normal. I say expect several things. Number one, the people will be excited. Free. but it's going to feel strange, folks, even foreign for most people in England. Idiot mask holes will reject freedom, much like the idiot, the threatening, violent idiot who said he would pick up children and throw them at people if he was shamed. These idiot mask holes will reject freedom. They will call it unsafe, much like a hostage who's been set free but has Stockholm syndrome, and they'll defend that which once enslaved them. Mask holes will lash out, verbally attacking others. And fear will increase for them, folks, thinking the worst is going to come and that they're all going to die. The mainstream media, folks, in England, I predict, will be different than the United States version, but will still push doubt, fear, and will call for some extra precautions, please. Now, those that are pro-lockdown and pro-mandate, they'll continue to do what they do as well. There will be statistics and reports of surges in cases and even hospitalizations on the mainstream media over in England, along with other stories of how the people are enjoying their freedom. It's going to be interesting, folks. The UK, England, Ireland, they're going to be chaotic over this topic until reality sets in hard. Until reality sets in hard. What is reality? That it's been a spam-demic the whole time. That flu season is always flu season, and it's no worse. And what about people that have taken the Jim Jones juice? And sadly, unfortunately, we've heard that many of them are getting sick. That they're the most susceptible amongst us, after being told that they would be the least susceptible. In England, I predict this, that illnesses will increase from the Jim Jones juiced population over in England, and the mainstream media will not quickly admit it, that is a problem. And I also predict that free speech on the topic of mandates and masks will increase. Free speech will increase because it's no longer forced. But social media everywhere else around the world will not allow open discussion about facts or statistics, or what we sometimes call the truth. The truth is hard, folks. It's uncomfortable. Sometimes it's ugly, but really it is reality itself. Being prepared is an uncomfortable reality that many of us have adopted, seeing the direction in which this country is going, in which this world is going. I want to thank you for all you do, for supporting this channel, for coming to Patreon and signing up there, $2 a month. That is critical. I could get yanked right off of YouTube the same way Dan Bongino has been, the same way Alex Jones was. You get yanked right off here for no reason at all. Hey, it's their channel, right? It's their internet site. They could just cancel everybody and say no more. Get to Patreon, folks. That way you not only get the information, you get it faster. Not only do you get it faster, you get it more complete. You get additional information. You're not being censored over there on Patreon. You guys be cool. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Semper Fi.
851. Go ahead and disregard the case. We got him at that sounds of this. Out there. Yeah, out there. 214, I'm going out there.